Wow.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
So what do you know about dim sum? Hi, welcome to Taste This TV. I'm Chef Joe Ciminera.
Remember, there are no rules in cooking.
Taste some food and have a great time on Taste This. I bet you I can eat this whole thing.
Here you have it, my version of the duck.
Thanks for having me here today. It's an absolute pleasure.
Grab a fresh lobster, cook it, and this is a lobster roll.
One of my favorite events, the Big Apple BBQ.
I'm Chef Joseph Ciminera. Remember, there are no rules in cooking. Taste this.
Hi, welcome to Taste This TV. I'm Chef Joe Ciminera. We're here at the Big Apple BBQ, located in New York City, right on Madison Avenue. We're going to check it out, talk to some pit masters, taste some food, and lick our fingers to the wonderful tasting ribs on Taste This. So we're here at the Big Apple BBQ at Baker's Ribs. We got Joe here, the pit master. Joe, how are you?
How you doing?
Man, I'm telling you, I smelled your ribs coming from all the way 2 blocks over. And talk to me, it smells like hickory.
Oh
hickory
yeah,
smoke.
yeah, that's what we do with our ribs there. We rub them with our special dry rub that we have. It has 5 different kinds of peppers in it, and a little sugar.
Now, is this like a family recipe that you have? Or?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's been in the family for a while. How long have you been smoking ribs for?
Actually, 33 years.
33 years. So you drive all the way here from Dallas, Texas.
Absolutely.
And when you get here, you just do your thing. And how many people you expect here? To thousands, huh?
There'll probably be about 75,000 people in the park today.
But now, what's your secret with the ribs? I know I'm going to try these in a little bit, but what's your take on it? What do they make them so special? Without giving any secrets away, any family secrets.
No, well, you just have to take your time with the ribs. Yeah. You know, put them in at a good steady temperature. We smoke them in the pit first, and then we finish them on our grills over here, and so that we can move a little faster.
Now you have pies: apple pie, cherry pie, is it peach
blackberry,
pie?
peach, fried pies, not regular pies. These are hand pies. It's an old-fashioned method of making pies, and actually you can make savory pies as well with sausage and egg and all sorts of things.
Really?
So, you know, at home we even sell pulled pork fried pies.
Joe, here they are, the famous hickory smoked ribs.
Yes, sir.
Man, they look good and tender. You'd always tell that rib is juicy. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Just talking to you.
You don't want a dry rib.
You definitely don't want the end, right?
Nah.
This is incredible. Wow.
Good.
All right, so we've had these delicious ribs, but we're not done yet because we have to kind of wash it down with a little sweetness, right? And we're going to head over to the original fried pie shop, Signature by Joe. So, Joe, your signature fried pies. Now, you're putting a little bit of a Dallas touch on this. And I happen to be a big Texas fan.
Yeah.
So I'm diving into this and seeing how it goes. Oh, this is peach.
Yes, absolutely. This would be what your grandmother made you if you grew up in Texas. So.
And it's not too doughy either.
No, and you know, ordinarily when you get them in our shops, they'd be more flaky, but we have to freeze them and ship them up here and reheat them so they don't come off as good as the real product at home, but people in New York love them.
Fried pie, and if you're lucky enough to get Joe while you're here, he'll walk you through the process. Joe, thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, we're not finished yet. On to some more barbecue in New York City. Taste this. So now we're here at Jim and Nick's Barbecue. Now, Drew, you might have recognized him from last year. Drew, how are you?
Great, man. How are you?
Good. The sausage is so good, I had to come back and eat it twice.
Awesome.
So, talk to me a little bit about the family recipe that goes into this sausage.
Well, it's a pork hot link, so all pork. And real simple. It's got some chilies and cayenne and paprika and garlic in it. So it's smoked over hickory wood.
Right.
And then we finish it off on the grills like you see behind me. So it's just a nice smoky, spicy, got a little kick to it. And then we pair it with the pimento cheese.
Ah, that's got to be a good combination.
Yeah, so the pimento cheese, real simple. It's cheddar, mayonnaise, a little bit of Tabasco, and roasted red peppers.
From Alabama, did you ship all the products here?
We did ship them all here. We made all the sausage in Birmingham before we left. About 8,000 links.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. About 8,000 links, about 1,000 pounds of cheddar cheese. So we wanted to be ready for the New Yorkers who were hungry. There you go. Don't be scared.
I love you.
We do okay?
Just as good as last year, my friend.
Awesome.
Drew, thank you so much for having me
Hey,
here.
thank you.
I'm glad your line spreads right across Madison Avenue.
Yeah.
And we're not finished yet because we're going to go check out the next booth. They're specializing in some great smoked meats all the way from Mississippi. Thanks, Drew.
There you go. Thank
Taste
you.
this. So next up, we have Gary and Leslie from UDOT. How are you guys?
Good, good.
This
How
is
you
the old
doing, man?
barbecue,
The barbecue
shake?
handshake.
That's good. That's good. So now what we have here is a signature smoked pork.
Right. This is a Boston butt. It's that bottom part off that shoulder. Are you ready to start pulling?
I'm ready to go.
We're going to start pulling this.
Wow, look at that. Just
And
pulls right off.
Right off. You have big sections in the bark.
I'm going to go ahead
Wow.
and add some of our Yvonne sauce.
All right. Now we're going to try a bite with a little bit of the barbecue sauce. It has no bark, but you're going to see that flavor is there. That the marriage of the sauce and the meat. Now you put that. Now what we always say is you have to have a bun-worthy piece of meat. Now by that I mean meat and bread. It's just all you ought to have. It's good. Of course,
Right.
I like to do this. I've got to have my sauce, and I
love
like the slaw on it and
I'm
put
with
it
you.
all
I'm with you.
together.
I
That
love the
makes it-
slaw on
yeah.
there. You gotta have
Gotta
it.
have it. Gotta have it.
Gotta have it. Wow, so tender. Now, so this goes on top of the bread?
This, all right, listen, I'll tell you what, let's fix one right quick.
Yeah.
We're going to pull that pork into some smaller pieces here, and I'm going to put a
go.
little sauce on it as I go. And, you know, everybody's piece of pork is the bark because that's where you're going to get that smoke flavor,
Yeah.
that little tenderness on the outside with that good little
How many
smoky
pounds
heat.
of pork you think you're cooking today?
We probably, through the course of the weekend, probably doing about 4,500 pounds. All right, this is a little sample. You do have some
All right.
slaw on your sandwich. Let's get a...
Like you said, this is the right way to
This
eat
is
it
the
right here.
right way to eat it. See, all you got to do, and that makes me so happy to when you know a sandwich produces a smile. You know it's all right.
Gary, thank you so much for having
Man,
me here.
we're glad to have
Check
you with
him
us
out.
today.
Leslie, thank you so much.
Nice to have you.
That'll do it here in New York City, but we're not finished yet. Back over to the test kitchen to whip up some more great recipes. Taste this. So we're going to get started on today's show. I hope you like that barbecue segment and talking about a couple of things that we're going to do with steak. Now, steak you can use in a couple of different areas, right? There's braised steaks, you could steam beef, you can grill it, you can do whatever you want. But let's talk about some of the rubs that go on
I
steaks.
love
Now,
you.
you could either marinate your beef in a bag or a marinate mixture for anywhere from 24 to 64 hours, or you could put what's called a dry rub on, which just basically goes on the meat before it's put down. Sometimes it's air dried where you put the rub on the beef and stick it in the refrigerator for, you know, maybe a day or so. That's really good flavor as well. In this case, what we're going to do is take our first ribeye steak, because I've always thought that ribeye was really great to add on a dried seasoning to it. And then we're going to take the New York strip and add the compound butter. So let's take our ribeye right now, and we're just going to move our New York strip over. And what I'm going to do is season it with some different dried spices. And this is really the only time I ever use dried spices in anything. What we have is a little bit of red pepper flakes. We have a little bit of oregano. We have some dried garlic, some dehydrated onion, and we have some parsley. And we're just going to put that on the top. And what I like to do at the same time is just take a little bit of oil and with my spoon, just sort of mix everything around. What you want to do is flip the steak around the other side. And again, put a little oil down. And make sure you get a generous portion on here. You could use clarified butter if you'd like to. And we're going to go right down in this pan. Good. Now next we have our New York strip, and we're just going to leave it kind of hanging out there, but we should season it a little bit too. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of what I seasoned the ribeye with and toss over the New York strip. So we're going to take the almond flour, and what we're also going to do is take some butter. As you see, I left this butter out so it's nice and mushy. And we're going to put it in like so. Now the right way to make a compound butter is to take this, mix it up, and roll it in plastic wrap, put it in the refrigerator or the freezer. But I'm not going to get into that because it's just an extra step you don't need. You can just mix it in here and then plop it down on your steak when you're ready to go. So that's exactly what we need to do, is mash this up a bit. I'm mixing the almond flour, and it's going to help bind the flavor, exactly what we need, to the top of the steak, and it's not going to run over the sides. All right, so we got our compound butter. We're going to take our New York strip right over to the grill. So I'm talking about with that sear. And at the same time, we're going to flip our ribeye steak over. Now take a look at that. We need an accompaniment with this. Now I have some potatoes, but I think instead we're going to use a macaroni and cheese recipe in which we're going to take some half and half. And we got our cheese that we're going to be using. Today we're going to be using this incredible cheddar cheese. And we're going to actually put that in there and toss it up. Next, what we're going to do for our macaroni and cheese, if you don't have half and half, you could use heavy cream. Just remember it could be thick, is put a stick of organic butter right in there. Let's flip this sirloin steak over. And when you're flipping steaks, make sure you're piercing the outside and you're not penetrating anything inside the middle because you don't want the juices to run out on you. Next, what we're going to do is add our cheddar cheese. All right, let's check out on the New York strip here. All right, now's the time to put the compound butter on. So you got the compound butter that you made before. Just give it a little twirl, a whisk, whatever you want to call it. And put it over the top of the steak. Now that almond flour is going to keep it from totally going over the side, but you'll see what flavor it brings to steak. It's incredible. And we're going to put some candied fruit on top. This is the orange peel. And the orange peel is going to give the steak an incredible flavor when you cut into it. It's going to be really good with the compound butter. Now next we're going to take our steak, put it right over to our pan, and we got our ribeye we can't forget about either. Look how nice that ribeye came. Just going to put that on there. Now we're going to get started on the mac and cheese, or we're going to finish the mac and cheese, which is a perfect accompaniment to steak. So we got our pasta that we cooked ahead of time, and we got our cheese in here. What we're going to do is just make sure that our pasta gets tossed in a ton of cheese, because that's how you got to like it. All right, now we're going to take our macaroni and cheese and put it right there. That's what I'm talking about. Mac and cheese, steak. You got to use a good quality cheese with this. You know, you got to use a good quality cheddar. I think that's enough. We don't want to overkill here. All right, next we're going to take some heirloom tomatoes and cut them in quarters. Now, you know when you have an heirloom tomato because they're pretty oddly shaped. If you see this, they come in really weird colors. It could be like half purple, half orange, or half red, but you kind of get the picture on the drift that they're pretty weird looking, but they taste incredible. Take some of your tomatoes, put them down on there, maybe not use all of them, and cut this one. One thing about heirloom tomatoes, since they are organic, you're going to find with a lot of sand and dirt on them, so you just be sure to clean them up. Just take a little bit of olive oil and drizzle it over the tomato. These tomatoes are great. Like I said, just with a little olive oil and some salt, you got yourself a happening meal. This is aged goat cheese for 6 months. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this really sharp goat cheese. And a lot of people don't realize that goat cheese can be hard and aged for 6 months. A lot of people, when you mention goat cheese, they automatically assume that it's the sort of mushy, runny, classic goat cheese. You get the smooth flavor, the smooth consistency. But this hard goat cheese, and it's been aged for 6 months, really goes great with tomatoes. And with a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of olive oil, it's a great accompaniment to this dish. Now, if you don't like the accompaniment of the macaroni and cheese, rice is always a great side dish. In this case, we have a flaxseed rice blend. And if you're not into the whole rice scene, well, then you can't lose with the classic cream of spinach, let's face it, which is really easy to make. I think a lot of mistakes that run with the cream spinach is that they do not use heavy cream, which is very important to use.
I love you.
And you do have to use a little bit of a roux. So you can make a roux with that almond flour that I talked to you about, and you don't pick up that nasty flour taste when you're dealing with your side dish. That'll do it for today's grill show. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Taste This TV, where we did our 2 steaks, our mac and cheese, our rice, and our heirloom tomatoes. Until next time, thank you for watching Taste This TV. I'm your host, Chef Joe Ciminera. Remember, there are no rules in cooking. Taste this.